Hey, welcome to the Do Good Work podcast. Today we have a simple solo one-on-one together here, and I'd like to go through 3 ways to address your team, to address their thinking, to help them open up to new possibilities. Now, this is not some ninja conversations tactics. This isn't some like deep subliminal messaging. The whole idea here is how can you, if you're working with your team and either you're going through a funk or you want to be able to produce better work, or you want to change things up and add variety to the work, to the thinking, or your strategies have been pretty stagnant and there's nothing new coming through. We want to be able as leaders, lead yourself, and maybe you're talking to yourself on this one. Maybe you want yourself to have better strategies and get out of a funk. But essentially, as leaders, either you're leading yourself, you're leading someone else. You want to empower your team through communication to open up to new options and or possibilities, because having the opportunity to have options is always going to be a competitive advantage for yourself in business and in life, because every single option leads to different possibilities and different opportunities. And the key thing to focus on is addressing first the way of thinking, thought. And the 3 examples here that I want to share with you that can help you address your own thinking and your team's thinking to help them open up to new levels of possibilities with new options, which can lead to new opportunities. So I want to go through the 3 options that we can take when we're addressing the thoughts. The first is to change, the second is to counter, and the third is to expand. So the first is you can take a thought, you can change it. You can take a thought, you can counter it with a different thought. You can take a thought and you can expand on it. So those are the 3 options that we have here, 3 ways to address your team. Change it, counter it, expand it. So now let's give you some examples. Let's say a team member, or you're thinking of an idea and you're walking through a strategy, or you're walking through a new initiative and you want to change or modify or improve upon that idea. You can do that by asking questions as, what if we did this instead? Or would it be crazy if we tried this? And again, what we're doing here is that we're taking an existing baseline idea and we're modifying, we're enhancing it, we're changing it in a way to become better. And it's very similar, but it's not the same as the second way to address thinking is to counter it with a new idea. Perhaps the strategy or the idea or the initiative your team is going through, that you're going through, maybe you have wisdom and foresight that it may not be the best idea to approach. Instead of saying, hey, that's a horrible idea, cut it off and stop doing it right now, you don't want to be that person. You can counter their thinking. And by countering the thinking, open up a challenge for them to think differently, to think in a different format, and to approach the problem from a different level. You can do this by saying, have you considered this? Have we tried that? What about this over here in observation in the marketplace or in nature? And the key thing is to counter them, but counter them in a way where it opens up their peripheries, their mind, to look at other ways of seeing that same problem or idea or initiative in new ways, in a new lens, not just cutting it off from life and just letting it die on its own. You want to definitely counter in a way to challenge thinking and give them an opportunity to think differently. And because when you do this as a leader, your team is going to have substantially more ideas and probably, in my opinion, better ideas than you would by yourself. And that's the key to unlocking new possibilities and new opportunities with your team. Now, the third and final way that you can address your team's thinking to open up to new possibilities is to expand on an existing idea, to expand on their thought. So again, the first one is they have a thought, you change it and modify it to enhance. The second is you counter it, you go directly against it, but giving them a new opportunity to think at a different level. The third is to take it, but now give it wings and expand upon it. And this is different from the modifying, because you're modifying and changing the end outcome. Here, you're taking where they're going, you're just giving it more wings, you're giving it more opportunity to expand. And one way of doing this is by your team gives you an idea and you say, yes, and exactly, that's exactly good. And from there, here's what else we can do. Now you're both collaborating and building on top of each other's ideas. And this is where exciting things can really happen. Actually, out of all these 3, exciting things and possibilities can really happen. But the third is looking at it more on a deeper collaborative approach, where you're taking their idea saying exactly, here's where we're going with this idea. Here's where we can take it now, because they may have lit up a new idea within you that you wouldn't have thought otherwise. And but with that back and forth, your new idea could light up something else in them, and you can both carry a dialogue to expand some flatline idea that you had in the beginning and really give it growth and really give it wings after maybe a 20 or 30-minute session of just dialogue and conversation. There's the three ways that you can address your team to open up their thinking to new possibilities. And again, more options, more possibilities would lead to new opportunities and dramatically different outcomes that can help, your growth and your team's growth.